One member for Chifley.
Member for Riverina, you are no poet laureate. I mean, that you should stay away from the poetry, stick to the limericks. The one about the budget standing on the burning deck, as that all your commitments are turning into ash and all your promises about what you would do would go. The only thing I'll give the Treasurer credit for is he's very effective at this one thing. He will tell you something with such bluff and bluster that in 6 months' time you will be guaranteed he will walk away from it. Guaranteed that he will crab walk away from the commitment he made. Because remember earlier in 2013, in January of 2013, and thank you, Member for Barker, for walking straight into it, because earlier in January 2013, I remember the shadow treasurer, now treasurer, telling ABC AM, and I quote, "Our commitment is emphatic. Based on the numbers published today, we will deliver a surplus in our first year and every year after that." That is what he said last year. Last year, that is exactly what he said. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? He walked away from that. Now, the thing is, the member for Mayo wants to refer to our time in government, and you often hear from the coalition a reference to, "Oh no, but what about your time in government?" But the thing is this, on the path to your office, on the path to election, you made it a virtue that you said that what you do, you will deliver. That those opposite said that if they make a commitment, they'll deliver it. But every time they make a commitment, they can't. The other time where the Treasurer spoke with such confidence, such gusto, that he'd be able to achieve. In May of 2013, when he said, "I can promise that the coalition will deliver a better budget bottom line than Labor." May 2013, better bottom line. OK, let's fast forward 6 months and their first MyEFO document. Now, PIFO, independently established, PIFO said that the budget deficit would be $30 billion. What happened? By MyEFO, it went to $47 billion. 47, their first one. And this wasn't a case of trying to blame the former government. There were active decisions that were made by those opposite that contributed to it. The $9 billion they gifted to the Reserve Bank, $9 billion that they just handed over to the Reserve Bank, the $1.1 billion that they turned their back on in terms of profit shifting and the way you could have dealt with that. They turned their back on changing the way in which wealthy superannuants are taxed. They turned their back on that. Their active decisions deteriorated the budget. So when the Treasurer says, "I can promise that the coalition will deliver a better budget bottom line than Labor" in May of 2013, again, wait 6 months and it all turns to dust. Now, he got a few good confidence figures in November of 2013, and he suddenly went out and told everyone, and this is what he said. He gets a few good figures on consumer confidence, and in November of last year says, "Consumers have now started taking their wallets out of their pockets." That's what he said. And guess what happened 6 months after that? After the consumers took the wallets out of their pockets, these people opposite took $6,000 out through their budget, through a budget that ripped people off. It ripped off pensioners. It lifted fuel tax. It ripped off people who wanted to send their children to university. It imposed a GP tax. The consumers took their wallets out and then they got thugged by this government in their very first budget. Thugged by this government. And what happened as a result? Confidence tanked. Confidence tanked. And when you look at all the figures, one after the other, the business sector cannot believe what they're seeing, because what they're seeing now is people concerned about whether or not they will be able to spend, because the budget has ripped out $6,000 out of families. And at a time when the economy needs that confidence, it's not there. So the only time you see confidence is from one person, and it's the Treasurer just before he's about to make another stuff up, where he'll tell you one thing in one day, and in 6 months' time it'll end and it'll be departed from, just like a Prime Minister who simply is incapable of telling the truth. You cannot trust a single commitment given by this government. They will walk away from it once they've got the votes, and that's what people should remember.
Paul.